I sold my house without telling my wife after she got pregnant with my brother's baby. Hey, I'm Nate, 35, and 2 months ago, I sold my house without telling my wife after she confessed she was pregnant with my brother's baby. I bought that place back in March 2019. $510,000 cash. No mortgage. No cosigners. Just me, the title, and 7 years of 70-hour weeks building a property management firm from nothing. It was my sanctuary, 3 bedrooms, huge deck, killer views of the Oregon coast. My pride. My fortress. Then I married Camille. That was 2021. She moved in 6 months later. I never added her to the title. Oregon law is clear. What you own before marriage stays yours unless you're dumb enough to share it. I'm not dumb. My brother Liam? He's 38, a full-time musician with 2 self-published albums and 0 income. Borrowed $11,000 from me last year. Said it was for studio gear. I never saw a dime back. But hey, he's always been the golden boy. Charming, impulsive, broke. Mom calls him a free spirit. I call him a financial liability. 3 weeks ago, I came home early from a lease inspection. Camille didn't expect me till 6. I pulled into the driveway at 3:17 on a Thursday, walked through the door, and froze. Her laugh echoed from upstairs. Then a voice. His voice. I didn't charge up the stairs. Didn't scream. I just stood there in the hallway I'd repainted myself last summer and listened. Heard everything. Liam. Again and again. I left without a word. Drove straight to a motel off Highway 101. Checked in. Sat on the edge of the bed staring at the remote. Not because I was about to cry, but because I was doing math. The house was mine. Legally. Camille had no claim. And in that moment, while she and Liam were still tangled in my sheets, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them. I was going to evict them. From my life. And they wouldn't even see it coming. I didn't go home that night. Or the next. Camille texted, asking if I was okay. Said she thought we needed to talk. I replied once. Out of town for a couple days. Work stuff. Meanwhile, I wasn't in meetings. I was meeting with a real estate cash buyer named Erin who flipped coastal properties. I sent her high-res shots of the place, gave her the specs, and she called me back within the hour. I can get you a buyer by the end of the week, she said. It's a hot market. By Friday afternoon, I had an offer, $775,000. Cash. 45-day close with a 60-day post-sale occupancy agreement. Perfect. I accepted. The house I spent years saving for? Sold. Just like that. While my wife and brother were making plans for their new life together, right under my roof. I was making plans to hand them the doormat and pull the floor out from underneath them. I moved back in Sunday night. Didn't mention anything. Acted like I just needed a break. Camille looked surprised but relieved. She made spaghetti, asked if I was okay, told me she'd been thinking a lot about where we were heading. I bet. Liam came by the next night with craft beer and just wanted to catch up. Man. I handed him a pale ale and said nothing. He sat on my deck, talking about how maybe he'd move up to the coast full time. Camille and I really vibe up here, he said, staring out at my view like it already belonged to him. I nodded, took a sip of my beer, and pretended to care. Day 10. Camille sat me down at the kitchen table. She was fidgeting, nervous. I need to tell you something. I waited. I'm pregnant, she said. Then she looked at me with wide, trembling eyes and said 4 words I'll never forget. It's Liam's. I didn't scream, didn't flip the table, just looked at her and said, thanks for telling me. She blinked. That's it. I'll need some time to process, I said calmly. Liam called me the next day. I just want to say I didn't mean for this to happen, but now that it has, we want to do this right. He thanked me for not losing it. I told him, life's short. Gotta be adults about things. He said I was a good man. I said, just trying to do the mature thing. And behind the scenes, I was packing my entire life into storage and getting ready to watch them walk straight into their own private hell. By week 3, Liam had basically moved in. He wasn't even pretending it was temporary anymore. His guitar was in the living room, his sneakers were in the hall, and his stupid face was in my fridge every morning. Camille had redecorated the guest room. Excuse me, the nursery. She showed me a vision board on her iPad. Soft neutrals, minimalist wood crib, nature decals on the wall. We want to create a calming space, she said, like I was their contractor, not the soon-to-be ex-husband she'd cheated on. I nodded. Love the vibe. They mistook my silence for grace. Camille said I was being incredibly mature. Liam told me, "You're like the blueprint for how to handle complicated family stuff." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. What they didn't know? I'd already closed the sale. The money had hit a new checking account in Portland that Camille didn't know existed. I'd set up a wire transfer the same day. Half went to a beach condo rental on the southern coast, short-term lease, furnished, ocean views. The rest? In investments. Safe. Untouchable. I filed for divorce 2 days after Liam moved in. Quietly. No lawyers called her. No papers served. Not yet. I wanted to wait. Let them get good and comfortable. Meanwhile, I bought a second phone. Used it to book a one-way flight to Portugal. Just because I could. I shipped my essentials to a climate-controlled unit in Newport. My passport, my grandfather's watch, my favorite chef's knife. All tucked away in labeled bins. I erased myself from the house one drawer at a time. Camille didn't notice. She was too busy pinning baby shower themes. Then came the best part. Day 41. Camille sat me down again. She looked serious. "I think we should talk about the house." "Here we go." "I know things are complicated," she said, "but Liam and I were hoping we could stay here. Raise the baby in a stable place." She reached for my hand. "This house has good energy." I smiled. "Of course." She blinked. "Really?" "Yeah," I said. "I think it's great you two want to build something together here." Liam grinned, relieved. "You're not mad." "Not at all. Because in 12 days, they'd be illegally trespassing. And I planned to be sipping espresso on the porch when it happened. Day 46. Camille came home from a prenatal yoga class with an armful of throw pillows. "For the nursery," she said, tossing them on the bed. "Liam thinks they'll help with the feng shui." I nodded and returned to my laptop, where I was finalizing a wire transfer to my rental deposit in Portugal. Beachfront. 2-bedroom. Fully furnished. I was leaving the country 3 days after the eviction. Liam had really leaned into this new dad persona. He started grilling on my patio, drinking my scotch, bragging to his friends that he was finally settling down. One night, I caught him sketching out a plan to turn my garage into a music studio. Said it'd be great for the baby's creativity. I said, "Makes total sense." They believed every word. That week, I hosted a barbecue. Invited Liam's bandmates, Camille's co-workers, even my neighbor Ted. Played it cool. Everyone complimented how mature I was being. "I don't know if I could do it," one guy said. "Sharing space with your ex and your brother?" I shrugged. "Takes patience." The next morning, I got the email. "Occupancy period ends March 12th. Please confirm handoff of keys by 9 a.m. New owners will arrive with locksmith at 9:15. I smiled, replied, "Confirmed." That night, Liam rented a U-Haul. "We'll be moving our stuff into the master bedroom after you go," he told me. "Gonna finally feel like our place." I raised my coffee. Cheers to fresh starts. Day 59. Camille and Liam made pancakes in my kitchen like it was Sunday brunch at a bed and breakfast they owned. She wore his hoodie. He kissed her neck while the coffee brewed. Disgusting. "Tomorrow's the big day," Liam said, mouth full of syrup. I nodded. "Y'all excited?" Camille beamed. "We can't wait. It's finally going to feel real." I helped them load their U-Haul with IKEA baby furniture they'd financed on her credit card. They planned every room like they were painting a dream. That night, Camille curled up next to Liam on the couch and said, "Thank you, Nate, for letting us stay. You're making this so much easier." "Don't mention it," I said, because tomorrow, they'd be the ones packing, but not for a new beginning, for an eviction. The morning of March 12th, I woke up at 6 a.m., made coffee in my kitchen one last time, and watched the sun rise over the cliffs. It was cold, blue sky clear. The kind of day that would have been perfect for a fresh start, if it was actually theirs to have. By 7:45, I was dressed, bags packed, car loaded, keys in hand. Camille and Liam were still asleep. I didn't wake them, just left a polite note on the counter. "Out for the morning. Lock up behind you." Then I walked outside and waited on the porch with my coffee. At 8:04 a.m., Helen, the property manager, pulled into the driveway in a silver Subaru. Right behind her, a red Tesla Model Y rolled in. I stood and shook hands with Miles and Darcy Connolly, the new owners. San Francisco tech couple, early 30s, remote jobs, big smiles. "Love the place already," Miles said, setting his sunglasses on his head. "We've been looking for this view for years." Darcy leaned over to peek inside. Is that a nursery? Not mine, I said. Long story. Helen did her usual walkthrough. Appliances, locks, light switches. I showed them how to work the heated floors in the master bath and warned them the sliding door sticks a little in the winter. We wrapped up the tour just as the locksmith van arrived. 8:45 a.m., right on schedule. Camille's voice floated out from inside. Nate. Footsteps. Then she opened the front door in leggings and a bathrobe. Her face fell when she saw the strangers in her living room. Nate, what's going on? Liam appeared behind her, barefoot, half awake, hair sticking up in every direction. I sold the house, I said, setting my mug down on the porch rail. You what? Camille blinked. Sold it 6 weeks ago, I said. Cash. Closed last month. Occupancy ended today. Helen nodded. You were notified in writing. Ownership transferred legally. The Canellis are the new title holders. Darcy waved awkwardly. Hi. Liam stepped forward, confused. You're kidding, right? This is some kind of twisted joke? Nope, I said. You'll need to leave now. Camille looked like she'd swallowed glass. But, the nursery. The baby. Not my kid, I said. Not my problem. She gasped like I'd slapped her. Liam started pacing. This isn't legal. You can't just throw us out. We live here. Helen opened her tablet. Actually, under Oregon law, Mr. Nate Langford was sole legal owner, and your occupancy agreement expired at midnight. You are now trespassing. They both turned to me, wide-eyed. You knew, Camille whispered. Since January, I said. You told me on day 10. I found out on day 3. The locksmith stepped inside, and that's when the screaming started. Camille lost it first. You can't do this. I'm pregnant. She lunged for the hallway, like she was going to barricade herself in the nursery with throw pillows and desperation. Helen calmly stepped in front of her, all polite steel. Ma'am, the property has transferred. If you refuse to vacate, the police will be called. Right on cue, sirens in the distance. Liam spun toward me, eyes blazing. You evil son of a, this is your family. Your brother. That baby's innocent. And I'm innocent of ever agreeing to raise your kid, I said flatly. The squad car pulled into the driveway just as Liam knocked over a lamp. 2 officers stepped out, mid-40s, all business types. They took in the scene. New owners, clipboard-wielding property manager, a locksmith finishing up, and Camille sobbing in a bathrobe. Sir, one officer said to me, you the former homeowner? I handed over my ID, the sale documents, and the occupancy agreement with the date clearly circled, March 12th. Helen did the same. Preston showed the title on his phone. Within 5 minutes, the situation was official. Ma'am, sir. The officer turned to Camille and Liam. You need to vacate the premises immediately. You're trespassing. Camille sank to the floor, clutching her stomach, weeping like it might win her an Oscar. Liam glared at me like I'd just set fire to his favorite guitar. You ruined our lives, he growled. No, I said. You ruined mine. I just refused to keep paying the bill. He lunged. The officer intercepted him mid-step and pinned him with a forearm to the chest. Don't do something stupid, the cop warned. Camille was still sobbing as they were escorted to the curb. She begged, to let them back in just to figure things out. Claimed she had nowhere to go, that she was 6 months pregnant and couldn't be on the street. I looked her dead in the eye. You had a home, I said. Then you let my brother into it. Don't expect me to clean up after the mess you two made. She broke. Absolutely broke. Curled up on the grass in front of the U-Haul, they had no place to unload. Darcy Connolly stepped up behind me, polite but firm. Should we call a tow if they leave it in the driveway? I turned to her, smiled. Wait until they drive away. Then change the locks. I got in my car, one duffel bag in the back seat, windows down, and pulled away while Liam shouted my name like I owed him something. I didn't look back. I drove straight down the coast. No music, just whine through the window and the low hum of my engine. First stop, Brookings. Slept in a cheap motel with peeling wallpaper and a surprisingly clean bathtub. Next morning, I crossed into California. By the time I hit San Luis Obispo, I'd silenced my phone. Over 60 missed calls. Camille, Liam, my mom. My favorite? A voicemail from Mom saying I needed to make this right. Her exact words. You left your brother and his child homeless. What kind of man are you? I didn't reply. I just texted back. They can stay with you then. She didn't respond. That night, I stood on the deck of my rental in Bodega Bay. Ocean in front of me, a glass of bourbon in hand, and a sailboat had pulled up on my laptop. 26-footer. Used. Good condition. Listed in San Diego. I clicked schedule showing. By week 2, I'd moved into my furnished condo south of the city, Laguna Beach. 2 bedrooms. Big windows. Quiet neighbors. The kind of place you walk barefoot in, even if you're not the barefoot type. I unpacked the boxes I'd shipped from Newport. Made steak. Opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving for no reason. Watched the tide roll in. My cousin Bryce, the only family member I still spoke to, started sending updates unprompted. Said Liam and Camille were crashing in a friend's guest room in Eugene. Not going well, he texted. They're fighting. Liam hasn't booked a single gig. Camille's working temp admin jobs. He still talks like he's a victim. Week 5, they got kicked out. Landlord said too loud, too many complaints. Liam's back at your parents' house. Camille moved in with a coworker. Baby's due soon. Week 6, your mom tried to guilt trip me. Said I should talk you into helping them. I told him to block her. Week 8, Bryce sent a photo of Camille on Facebook holding a newborn. Girl, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Liam's name isn't on the birth certificate. She looks exhausted. I stared at it for a minute, then swiped it away. Didn't feel anger. Or guilt. Or anything, really. Just peace. I had a new morning routine now. Wake up, make French press coffee, walk barefoot to the balcony. I bought the sailboat 2 weeks ago, named her Clean Cut. White hull. Navy trim. Nothing fancy, but she was mine. I'd take her out twice a week with a retired dentist named Paul who swore by sailing as therapy. He was right. One night, I sat across from a woman named Leah at a beach cafe. Early 30s, marine biologist. Same dry humor, same zero tolerance for drama. On our second date, I told her the whole story. From day one, she sipped her wine and said, "Sounds like they stole your life." They tried, I said. So I sold it out from under them. She smiled. Fair. 2 months after I left, I got a letter. Not a text. Not an email. A real letter, handwritten, postmarked from Eugene. The handwriting was Camille's. Dear Nate, I know I don't deserve a reply. I know what I did was inexcusable, but I had to try. The baby's here. Her name's June. Liam left 2 weeks after she was born. Said he needed space and hasn't been back. I'm working nights, living in a shared apartment with 3 roommates and no crib. I'm scared all the time. I know I broke you. I know you'll never forgive me. But if there's anything left of the man I married, I'm begging you. Please don't let June suffer for my mistakes. See? I read it once. Then again. Then I set it down on the kitchen counter beside a bowl of oranges and walked out to the balcony. The waves were calm. The sun was setting. And I didn't feel pulled back. Not a single part of me wanted to call, text, drive north. She wanted me to save her from herself. Again. But that wasn't my job anymore. I sat on the edge of the deck, watched the boats come in, and let the letter blow away in the wind. That night, Leah came over with tacos and cold beer. We ate on the couch, talked about nothing. And I realized something. You don't need closure. You need distance. 3 weeks later, I heard from Liam. Well, technically, I heard from his new fiancée. Yep, fiancée. Someone named Marissa tagged him in an Instagram engagement post. She had 600 followers and a penchant for inspirational quotes in pastel fonts. Caption, he's been through so much. I can't wait to be his peace. I nearly dropped my coffee from laughing. Bryce texted me the same day. Did you see this? She met him at a music open mic night in Salem. She thinks he's a misunderstood genius. They're talking about opening a juice bar/recording studio. I responded with a thumbs up emoji and then muted the thread. Camille, meanwhile, went silent. No calls, no texts. Bryce said she picked up more shifts and enrolled in online classes. I didn't ask what she was studying. I didn't care. She was still living in a shared apartment, still scraping by, still raising a child Liam abandoned. And me? I was on my boat. I'd renamed her again, Second Wind. Fitting. I started taking longer trips. Catalina. Baja. Just me, the sea, and a playlist full of songs I didn't have to pretend to like. I learned to tie a bowline blindfolded. Learned how to sleep through swells. Learned what peace sounded like. Leah came with me sometimes. We cooked on the boat, swam under moonlight, talked about nothing and everything. She never asked for more than I could give. Never pressured, never pushed. Just let me be. One night, As we drifted off Santa Cruz Island, she asked, "Do you think you'll ever forgive them?" I thought about it. The lies. The gaslighting. The nursery in my guest room. "No," I said, "but I don't need to." She nodded. "That's fair. Forgiveness isn't always healing. Sometimes, choosing yourself is." 6 months later, my divorce finalized. My attorney emailed me the decree on a Thursday morning while I was sailing into Monterey Bay. I downloaded the PDF, read it once, then deleted it without ceremony. No fireworks. No drama. Just legal confirmation of what I'd already felt for months. Freedom. Leah was with me that day. We dropped anchor near a quiet cove, opened a bottle of wine, and made fresh pasta on the boat's tiny stove. No toast. No speech. Just peace. I'd flipped 3 properties in California since moving. Net profit, $410,000. I'd invested half, bought another sailboat with the rest. Bigger. Sleeker. A dream project. Bryce still sent updates now and then. I never asked for them, but I read them like you'd glance through a history book. Detached. Camille's working full-time. The baby's almost walking. No sign of Liam. No child support. Mom and Dad stopped bringing you up. Marissa dumped Liam. He's couch-hopping again. I didn't reply. They were just echoes now. Sometimes, I'll get a random number calling my phone. I never answer. I assume it's Camille, maybe even my mother. It doesn't matter. I built a new life. No audience. No script. Just real. This morning, I woke before sunrise. Leah was still asleep, curled under a blanket below deck. I made coffee, climbed topside, and watched the water turn gold. No missed calls. No guilt. No weight. Just wind. People say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I didn't serve revenge. I just reclaimed the table. And when they tried to steal my life, I let them decorate it, dream in it, pretend it was theirs. Then I sold it out from under them and sailed away. Now, I live in the sunlight, on my terms. Not out of spite. Out of clarity. Out of choice. Out of freedom.